Hello there, it's Rachel Palmieri. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia, and we're in a stage 4 lockdown at the moment in an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus. And like lots of people, I've resorted to, skipping through the internet looking for inspiration. And I often, kind of stalk other demonstrators and so on. So I came across a tutorial this week for the Beautiful World bundle, and I've had this since it came out and I've used it. I really love the textured folder. Apparently this is a travel journal and it's quite big. I didn't realise. One of the ladies in this tutorial group, which by the way is the Crafty Carrot Co-op, I think, was a concept artist for this suite. So she had all the background knowledge, I guess, about it, and took us through the products in one of the videos that was shown. But the one that inspired me to craft was Susan Wong in New Zealand, who was an artisan for a couple of years at least. And she's quite inspired. She definitely has a totally different style to me. And that was good because I crafted alongside her, making the project that she had picked out, and thoroughly enjoyed it, found it quite achievable, but also it inspired me to keep on going with my crafting. So this is the one that she shared, and there are a lot of touches here that I tend not to bother about, and which I think have really made the card. So the DSP behind, I would always use a smaller panel so that it wasn't covered over as much. But there's glimpses of it, which is rather nice. In my card that I'm going to make with you today, I'm just going to use a strip of the same DSP. She's watercoloured the sentiment label and splattered the background here. Used twine, which I like to use but frequently forget to. She's curled the corner of the paper for a touch of distressing, and she's made sure to use this embossing die, which is in the set, which apparently has latitudes of the different offices where Stampin' Up is situated, as in, the main countries: Sydney, Australia, Utah, I guess, in the USA. I think it was Dusseldorf in Germany, and there's another one, but the designer couldn't remember when she was talking to us about it. Anyway, it does give nice texture, and just the idea of tucking something in behind like that as a feature, I think, is rather nice. The other difference was that she had stamped the sentiment down at the bottom of the page. I like the way these sentiments match so nicely. You make the world a better place. Thank you for being part of mine. And I've used another of the sentiments in the set. Life's a beautiful journey. Thank you for being part of mine. I think that it might be quite appropriate for my husband. I've been online shopping too, so I've got some presents coming for him, just because I suppose shopping is a little bit of my hobby. like a lot of ladies, and I actually prefer online shopping to going to the shops. So anyway, when we were making, Susan used staples on hers. I couldn't find my stapler at the time. I have it here in front of me today. I'm only hoping that I actually remember to do it. This is another fault of mine. I chose to use this particular die out of that set because I hadn't ever used it, and they'd talked about it, and I thought, oh, okay, that would be interesting to see how that works. And I do like the different texture that it adds on here. It's rather cool. I cut one of the hemispheres out in the gold foil. I don't have brass foil at the moment. I guess something else to add to the list. And I splattered very generously with the cinnamon cider ink and a water pen. So we can see how we go with this. I've tried to record this already once and was interrupted by a phone call, so I'm having another shot, and I hope that the phone doesn't ring. I haven't put it on Do Not Disturb, so that's probably my first mistake, but there you go. So I've pre-cut my pieces. This piece is 14 centimetres long. Doesn't really matter how wide it is. It's just over a centimetre. I've just put it on the cutter and cut it so that it can go down the side. I have prepared the inside. We have a piece of crumb cake 10 centimetres by 14 centimetres and a piece of very vanilla 9.5 centimetres by 13.5 centimetres. And the base is early espresso. It is the length of the paper, scored down the middle at 10.6, no, not scored, cut down the middle at 10.6 centimetres, and then scored at 14.5, and I trim that little tiny piece off. If you don't want to do that, you would score it at 14.8 centimetres, and you will have exactly a half that way. I have a scrap here for using the embossing with. This is the piece for the front, and that measures 9 centimetres by 14 centimetres, and it will get die cut down the left hand side momentarily. Piece of foil, it doesn't matter what colour you've got, just use whatever you have, and some thick, very vanilla cardstock for the second sentiment. So I'll stamp that because I prefer to place my die around the sentiment that I've stamped and not try to stress too much about stamping straight within a pre-cut label. I do sometimes cut a whole lot of labels so that they're ready for stamping, and it's hit and miss if they come out as I want or not. Alright, so there's the big shot. I'm hoping that I'll have the new machine next week. It has shipped. It has an extremely long name. One of my friends has already nicknamed it Mama Boss. So, Mama Boss it might be. The little one that hasn't been released yet is, she's called it Baby Boss. I will miss the Big Shot. I have really enjoyed using it, but it's had a lot of wear, and I do think that there's going to be a time fairly soon where it doesn't do me good service. So I'm happy to have it continue on, but I also thought it wouldn't hurt to try out the new one pretty quickly. Now, I just stamped off with cinnamon cider. I wasn't going to stamp a new feather, but I thought it might be fun to have a different colour. That just came to me then. I thought, oh well, might as well. Now the crucial thing here is to not allow it to move. Maybe I need to turn that a bit. So I'm finding my ink pad at the moment, because it's so new and fresh, is really a little bit too juicy, and I've often stamp off until they reduce the ink a bit. Look, I could mop some off, but I sort of feel like that would be a waste. Now, I feel like that has left a little bit too much cream. What else do I need to do? I still need to do the side panel. Oh, I didn't take that much off. Never mind. I'll pop that down. We'll get this guy now. At least this way you get to see quite a few of the different dies and embossing pieces in action. That's come up quite well. We'll just sort of give it a tear to make it rustic. This is where I have to take these off. So it makes a bit of a scratchy sound while I remove them. And the last piece is the gold foil, if I can find it. And hopefully I'm done. Oh, did I get the... Oh dear, no, that's going to be all right, I think. I've had it move. I'll quickly put it through again. Yeah, so the handle on my Big Shot has a lot of abrasions on it from all the different people using it, and perhaps having rings on and things like that. And every now and again my husband has had to do maintenance on it because things come loose, and then I wonder whether I'm going to be able to get new plates for it when I need them. And so I invested in the new die cut and emboss machine. So I am really looking forward to trying it out. Getting good reports from overseas where they've got theirs quicker. Yeah, these are a little bit persistent, aren't they? They're sort of attached by a thread almost. Okay, a little bit of roughness won't matter. Now I went and ran out of Stampin' Seal the other Friday, and I'd already put my order in, and I hate to order just one or two things, so I've started another order and we'll see what else comes in. So actually, if anyone's wanting just one or two items and they're close to South Morang in Victoria, we can probably make an arrangement that you could pick up from the door. But of course at the moment we can't travel more than 5 kilometres from our homes, so that makes things very tricky. Now I'm distressing this corner with my bone folder and praying that I don't tear it. So the idea is that I work it until it starts to come apart. And I think we've got there now. Okay. Now, with this, it's a bit like a ticket stub, isn't it? I'd better do a bit of stamping. There we go. Now the other thing that I need to do is splatter some ink around. So I need that. Now, what happened to that thank you that I cut out? It's a bit strange. There it is. Okay. Now, I don't know. I have used the new brush, but I can't get it to blob like my old brush. I'm not quite sure why. So that was just a few drops on an acrylic block. No, it's almost like the reservoir's not as flexible. So I have an old one here. By changing direction, it sort of changes the way it splatters, so maybe there's a variation then in the pattern. I'll have to do a clean up of those later. Now, I only did a bow on the original card, but that's because I forgot to tie twine around it earlier. So if I remember and do it now, is where I need someone to run in and put their finger on the string for me. But I'll try. This is linen thread actually. It's a bit loose. Okay, let's see how we go. By the time I've put everything else on that front, I think that it won't be a problem. So, with these, I just put a little bit of glue behind the big land masses, the large continents or whatever. And will I put... Yeah, I'll just do that. It's moved across a little bit on the other one, so that's another slight difference. But you know, it doesn't actually matter. They're all individual creations, these cards. I actually have, so you can't see much of it if I do that. Do you change things as you're crafting? Do you, feel like you've got to do it exactly the way you saw it, or do you like to make a few changes to them? Look, if something goes wrong for me, I certainly don't stress about it. I just cover it up or generally cover it up or change something. You know, you spill a bit of ink, well, that's probably a great excuse to blob ink everywhere. And I have a feather. And I have some small dimensionals. So I'll change the position of the feather because it was looking a bit, lonely on that side. I just realised I haven't got a strip for the inside. So, you know, the technique is just put it in, slice it. Don't worry too much about measurements. That's a 9.5 centimetre insert, isn't it? If I 9.5, give it a nick. Oh, I'm so lucky. It landed glue side up. Now, I just decided to huff on that and put another feather inside. Everyone is different. Now, if you live in Australia and you've wanted to make a Stampin' Up order, you can order through me. Can be found at www.stampinpalsblogspot.com.au. I'm on Facebook as Rachel Palmieri Independent Demonstrator. You can text or phone an order to 0417 500 681, and you can email me at rpalmieri5@bigpond.com. So that's it for this week. I hope that you feel like going off and making a card, and I will have something else for you next week. Bye.